Okay, so today we're gonna scooter or drive around the Gulf Gate area. And so basically Gulf Gate is an area that was started in the early 60s, and it's a beautiful area. It's a more entrenched, established area. And I was thinking about talking about this from a home inspector's perspective because that's kind of what these videos are for. So basically these houses, they're from the 60s, so they're going to be block houses. They were built nicely. They were not built so quickly like the houses are being built these days. Back then it took them longer. The building materials were better. These are all concrete block houses. I don't think there's very many wood frame houses in this area. There might be a few, but for the most part they're concrete block. And you've got, generally they're shingle roof, even though there are some areas that have tile roofs interspersed. But for the most part, these are simpler retirement type homes. They were designed for retirees in the 60s that would want to come down to Florida and get their little landing spot. So that's what the purpose of this was. And obviously Sarasota has developed, and it's gotten younger. People are moving in, a little trendier, hipper, and housing costs have shot up. So anyway, to talk about these houses a little bit. So basically, when you get into the roofing systems, a lot of shingle roofs, they last. I mean, if you talk to the shingle manufacturers or the roofers, they're going to tell you 25-year shingle, 30-year shingle, 50-year shingle. And that may be true about the shingles, but if the roof starts leaking at the valleys or at different locations, at the penetrations, the stacks, the vents, and you have a lot of basically roofing malfunction, then it doesn't matter how long the shingles last, but if your roof is leaking all over the place, then it's time for a new roof. So typically a shingle roof is going to go somewhere between 15 to 23 years. That's about the average window. These houses were all built with copper plumbing to start off with, and a lot of that plumbing is needing to be replaced or has been replaced at this point. So as you go into these houses, you're probably going to be seeing some of them are going to have replums with CPVC, which is kind of an amber colored plastic piping, or they might be original copper. And in that case, you have to be a little more careful because you're dealing with 65-year-old copper piping, and corrosive water can degrade piping pretty quickly. So something to keep in mind, and that's something that we check for as far as our home inspections. There's the pipes that are under the houses. They quite often, and for the most part, are cast iron pipes. Now, cast iron pipes, they degrade just like anything made of iron. Big battleships and whatever else you make out of iron. Moisture and time degrade iron and rot it out, rust it out. And so basically what happens is that these pipes under the house, oh, watch out for this Jeep here. The pipes under the house, they will rust out, crumble, and they can actually collapse underneath the house. So when you're buying one of these houses, you want to make sure that you get a sewer scope done to check the integrity of the pipes under the house. So I'll go back to that in a minute, but here I am in Gulf Gate. Now this is the Gulf Gate Village, and it is Saturday evening, about 5 p.m., so things are just kind of getting going. Looks like there's still some people there, store workers, but then also the bars are going to be filling up at this point. Sun is low on the horizon, just passing by the water tower there. And, we see a lot of these large, beautiful American cars taking up their parking spaces like big inflated marshmallows. But hey, who am I to judge? Piccolo Market, great sandwiches in there. And a lot of these shops in here, they're really nice. These shops, they're basically about 1,000 square feet each, and they give the individual or a small company the chance to get a retail location and give it a shot. So you see a lot of new stores in here all the time. There's a lot of turnover because not everything survives, but for the most part, they do stick. And there's great pizzerias. There's great places to get a drink. Even though I don't drink very much, but I would assume that the alcohol is good in these places. The people seem friendly whenever I go by. So jewelry places, and gosh, you can get your tattoos and your pawns and your poor decisions and all sorts of stuff. And then there's some businesses you don't even know what they do because they appear to be one thing and might be another. So you never know.
Yeah, man.
Record stores, Italian restaurants. This is Rico's Pizzeria right here on the right side. That's the best. That's my favorite. Absolutely my favorite. That's my pizza medicine when I'm feeling low. So that's good stuff. This is the Rebellion nightclub. This is like 8 units long. I suppose you need an 8-unit nightclub here. I don't know, but people do frequent that place, and it just got a major redo, so it is a good place. But anyway, to get back to talking about the houses, so I was saying about the sewer lines under the house, and let me ride my scooter on this little pathway here, a little precarious. The sewer lines under the house, they can rot out. They are cast iron. They get soft, they get crumbly, and if they need to be replaced, you're looking at a good $18,000-$20,000 in repair costs, and that's just for replacing the plumbing lines under the house. That does not count ripping up the floors and everything else you might need to do. So that is something that needs to be checked out in detail. What's that? Okay, I'm recording an audio for YouTube here, so anyway, that's my 5-year-old talking. So aside from that, the electrical systems in these houses, they can have older cloth-covered wiring, rubber wiring, so you want to be careful of that. The electrical panels, they might be fine, they might be older. In some cases you're dealing with a 55, 60-year-old electrical panel, so they might be full, there might be issues with that. And then, of course, everyone's favorite topic is air conditioning. People like to think that they last 15, 20 years like they do up north, but in Sarasota, Florida, they last about 10 to 12 years. You might get lucky, you might get 15, you might get 20, but I just had one, died at 8 years. Refrigerant leak, can't do nothing, gotta replace it, 8 years old, Goodman is the brand, and it just went, so what are you gonna do? So air conditioners, you want to watch out for those down here. The seller of the property that you're buying might say, hey, I definitely think this air conditioner is in great condition. It's only 10 years old, but it's just like a Camry with 250,000 miles on it. It's getting up there. So anyway, so that's a little tour of Gulfgate. I can do a home inspection for you if you're looking for that. I do know a bunch of realtors that if you're looking for a realtor, I can help you find somebody that I've worked with over the years that's done a nice job. And honest realtors. There's all sorts of realtors out there, and so